Hi everyone, I'm Linda from Colorworks Designs and welcome into Missouri Star Quilt Company's newest Block of the Month program called Starlight. We designed this exclusively for Jenny, the Missouri Star Quilt Company, and all of you. So I am super excited that you're going to be joining me on this 8-month quilting journey while we make this beautiful quilt that you see behind me using fabulous Kay Fawcett classic fabrics. Each month we'll discover new techniques, we'll make new blocks, and I'll also be stitching alongside with you to offer you handy tips and tricks for that month's blocks. But before we get started with month number 1, I just want to share some of my handiest tips and tricks for getting your machine set up for success, as well as perfecting your 1/4-inch seam and also organizing all of your fabrics from month to month. So let's get started. So one of the first things I like to do, especially in a longer program like this Block of the Month, is set my machine up for success. That means I get myself a brand new pack of needles, some beautiful Aurifil 50-weight thread, and I clean out my machine. Believe it or not, I do this about every 10 to 16 hours worth of sewing, including changing the needle. Let me show you what I do. First, I remove the stitch plate and the presser foot that was left on the machine and clean out all the dust bunnies and thread from under the stitch plate. Next, I give my machine a good and thorough drink of oil. Then I change my needle. I prefer to use the 7511 quilting needles from Schmetz. These 7511 quilting needles have a specially tapered sharp point that is perfect for patchwork piecing. Then I put on my single hole stitch plate. The single hole in the stitch plate allows me to do a perfect straight stitch. Then I put on my 1/4-inch presser foot, and I changed the thread in the bobbin and top to a 50-weight cotton. I prefer the Aurifil 50-weight cotton, number 2615, which is a silvery gray. It camouflages itself right in the seams. Once I'm threaded, I'm ready to go. One of the other things you might want to do is check your 1/4-inch seam. This Block of the Month program is based on scant 1/4-inch seams, and a scant 1/4-inch seam is a hair less than a full 1/4-inch seam. So not only do you need a 1/4-inch presser foot for your sewing machine, but you need to check your 1/4-inch seam before you start block construction to make sure you're doing a scant 1/4-inch. I've got some tips and tricks to share with you to make sure that you're doing a scant 1/4-inch. To test your scant 1/4-inch, cut 2 strips 2 inches wide and stitch them right sides together. Remember, a scant 1/4-inch is a hair less than a full 1/4-inch. Once the 2 strips are stitched together, press the seam to one side and measure the width of the strips. It should measure 3½ inches wide. And if you're still having trouble with your scant 1/4-inch seam, check out the Perkins Perfect Piecing Seam Guide. This little notion will help you achieve a 1/4-inch seam on your machine. It has a hole in the middle and a line that runs up the right-hand side. Place the ruler under your presser foot and lower the needle into the hole. Then lower your presser foot. The edge of the ruler now marks a perfect scant 1/4-inch seam for your machine. Run a piece of tape up against the ruler to line your fabric up against it. Retest your 2-inch strips. Once you sew through the 2-inch strips, remeasure, and they should result in a perfect scant 1/4-inch seam. So the last thing I'd love to share with you is some tips for organizing all of your fabrics from month to month, as well as some suggestions of everyday objects that you can gather around your house or in the shops to help you organize all the little subunits or pieces for each block as you go through the months. When you look through the Getting Started guide, you're going to notice that it is chock full of information. Not only does it show you what block and in what month we'll be making that block, but probably the most important page of the Getting Started guide is this, the fabric color key. You're going to want to keep this handy from month to month. Not only does it show you what letter corresponds to which fabric, it also shows you in the diagrams what fabric is colored for the right side and what fabric is colored on the wrong side. So that's important when you're looking at the diagrams. It also shows you what fabric is used in which month. I've got mine printed out and I just fused it or spray mounted it to a piece of cardboard to keep it stiff. You could do that, or you could simply laminate it, or just simply print out several copies and move them from month to month in the fabric kits. The other things you might want to gather are everyday items like paper plates and plastic bags. You'll notice in month number 1 that I used these paper plates to keep all of my subunits organized as I'm moving around the sewing studio. So I will mark the letter of the block in the middle of the paper plate, like letter A for month 1's block, and then I will put all of the subunits, half square triangles, or little squares that have been cut on the paper plate, and then take this right over to my sewing machine or ironing board. And that way I've got all the pieces I need to make that one block here on the paper plate. These work just the same way, little bags. These are freezer bags or sandwich bags. And these are handy if you think you might be pre-cutting in advance or making some of the units for each block in advance and then not getting to constructing the entire block maybe until a week later or 2 weeks later. So that way you can put all of your subunits in the plastic bag, seal it up, mark the letter of the block on the front of the bag, and you've got all your units safe and secure, so when you get back to it, you haven't lost any of the little units that go with each block. Other items that I like to keep around me when I'm doing a block of the month like this is just a stack of note paper or Post-it notes. I use these to make little notes and pin them to the units. I also use these to mark the fabric as I go through each month's kits. So I might put letter A here and then pin that to the corresponding fabric in that kit. Another way of keeping all your fabrics organized from month to month is to simply print out in your word processing program labels like this. You just go into the label maker of your word processing program and type in letters A through K and then repeat. And I've got several sheets here already ready to go for month 1, 2, 3, and 4. And what's great about the labels too, especially if you use these sticky labels, or mailing labels, is that you can peel these off these sheets, put them on your fabrics, and then reuse them from month to month. And lastly, I just want to say a word about keeping all of your scraps from month to month. So as you can see here, I've actually made the quilt in advance from filming this video. And these are all the scraps that I had left over from some of the months. And you can see they're rather generous in places. So you're going to want to have a way of keeping all of your scraps. You don't necessarily have to keep them organized from month to month like I did, but you need to keep all of your scraps handy. One, in case you miscut in one month, you might be able to go back and get a tidbit from another month that you've saved. And then 2, there's a bonus project coming up that you'll want to use all of your scraps on. So I can't wait to get started stitching with you on month number 1's blocks. If you need further assistance on cutting, piecing, or pressing, check out Missouri Star Quilt Company's other tutorials available to you. Until then, happy coloricious quilting, everybody, and we'll see you for month number 1.